Throwdown Nation. We are experiencing some technical difficulties right now. This is Wednesday night. It's supposed to be episode 60. We are live on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter/X, Facebook, and Twitch. Tonight we are supposed to be having a guest from a masked wrestler from Philadelphia named Eric X Black. Currently, he is having some technical difficulties logging in. We're trying to work through that. I'm going to go ahead and kind of blank my screen for the moment and work with him. Sounds like he may have just... You there? Whoops. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, awesome. So anyway, let me sort of take it from the top here. Throwdown Nation, it is episode 60. We are live on a Wednesday night. We are rolling on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter/X, Facebook, and Twitch. And tonight is a chance that I've been looking forward to chat with a guy who is carving an extremely creative, unique, and violent path for himself in the wrestling business. From Philadelphia, or as he terms it, Killadelphia, Eric X Black. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thank you for the introduction.
Absolutely. I'm glad we worked out the technical issues, because man, I have been looking forward to this for weeks. This is exciting to finally get you on here.
Oh, thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this too, man. I've been hype all day. I was at the gym. I'm slamming weights around. I'm drinking the protein powder. I'm like, I can't wait to get on Throwdown tonight. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And for those of you that are watching this live, if you have any questions or comments, throw them in the chat. And at the end, we'll do a short viewer Q&A session, and any questions and comments will be read and answered. So we'll go ahead and get started with the first and most obvious question, Eric, and that is, how long have you been wrestling?
I started training in 2008 at CZW. And I started as a manager to Pinky Sanchez. It was violent as shit. And then after that, I started wrestling single matches from 2009 till now.
Nice. Yeah, man, I love some of the stuff out of CZW. That is some quality stuff, and I don't feel like it gets the respect that it deserves.
Yeah, well, CZW done changed a lot like over the years, but like when I was there was like a fear when you came in that building. It was just like, you had Nick Gage and you had Brain Damage and you had all these guys that was like legit violent as shit. And it didn't feel safe. Like that uneasy, that fear. I loved CZW back in those days.
Absolutely. So, who actually trained you?
We had like trainers float in and out, but mainly it was DJ Hyde and Sammy Callahan, Black G, Sabian, and John Dahmer. John Dahmer, for anyone who doesn't know, John Dahmer is one of the unsung heroes of the indies. Like, that man is so good. He's William Regal levels of good, and he doesn't get enough praise. So I just wanted to give him his flowers.
Absolutely. So in terms of the early stages of your training, what would you say was the most challenging part? What was the thing that was the hardest to get used to?
hitting the mat. You sit there and like I guess this goes for anywhere, but like in Philadelphia, in Philly, you sit there and you're just taught to like always fight. You don't you don't want to hit the ground. So when you have to sit there and you have to come in there and you learn how to bump, I'm talking about not in the ring. DJ had us on the cement. So just imagine coming in and it's like it was around the summertime when I started training, and you're taking hip toss on the cement floor, you're getting backdrop on the cement floor. Everything hurts, every single part. That was the worst. Like I could take most of the stuff that was happening in training until it was time to be a man and like take the ring away, learn how it feels to hit the cement floor. So that was the worst part, the toughest part.
No doubt, no doubt. And if you're used to bumping on concrete, I imagine the plywood in the ring feels pretty good.
Slightly better.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So, in the early portions of your training, what would you say is the most valuable lesson you learned? And, if you were going to pass along something to a new trainee, what would it be?
To listen. You come into wrestling, right? And you have all these ideas of what you want to do and how, you have dreams of like, I'm going to be this guy. I'm going to be like Triple H. I'm going to be like Shawn Michaels or AJ Styles or something, right? You come in here and then in training, they tell you, don't do anything. And they just, can I use explicit language?
Yeah.
Okay. You come in and they beat the shit out you. And you're told, you know, listen. And you have to listen. You can't react. You have to listen. A lot of guys, I've seen a lot of guys, especially when I was training, they come in and they would just be talking at the trainer. And that just took it further and further and further the opposite way. So my main advice would be just to listen. Keep your mouth closed and your ears open.
Be a sponge.
Exactly.
Soak it all in. Well, something I didn't have a chance to tell you, before we went live is something we do on these is what we call the speed round game. And what it is I've got a list of 10 names, and periodically I'm going to stop and say speed round and name a name, and you just tell me the first things that pop into your head. So
Oh,
the first
love
speed,
that.
the first speed round name is Tully Blanchard.
Ooh, talented.
Yep. Yeah, talented and really, one of the true founding fathers of modern wrestling.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Tully was honestly, I think he could have got a Ric Flair run. He should have got a Ric Flair run. That man is so good and smooth in the ring, crisp. He was there for everything. He was like a great base for everybody, even though he was like a little bit on the tall, not the tall side as like a base, but he was like medium. Like he was good.
Absolutely. So something I'm going to do is for people that aren't familiar with you and aren't familiar with what you do, I found a short promotional video for you on YouTube, and I'm going to share my screen and play a little bit of it just so people can get a little taste. Because, I mean, for instance, I'm down here in Atlanta, so I mean, until running across you on social media, I'll admit I wasn't that familiar, man. But I love your stuff, and I definitely want to spread what you've got going. So let me share my screen, and we'll play this.
Okay.
totally dig that video, man. And one of the things I'm really enjoying about what you've got going is, I love a good story and a story well told, and it seems like there is a whole lot of lore behind Eric X. Black, and I'm excited to kind of delve into some of that. But so I'm presuming you've been a fan of this stuff probably the majority of your life. And if that is correct, what is your earliest wrestling related memory?
My earliest wrestling memory was when I was 11, and this is back when they had the cable boxes that only went up to like 99, and they turned the cable off at the house. And I remember it was on the weekend, and I had put the cable wire. I learned if you put the cable wire in the TV, you can get some of the feed. So the thing that came on was the Iron Man match between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. It was WrestleMania, and it was scrambled. So I'm watching Shawn and Bret wrestle, and the picture is just going like this, and I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
like, and I'm listening to the storytelling. I'm hearing Vince McMahon on commentary, and the crowd was just getting me hyped, and I was like, I gotta see what this is. So I found out it was like Monday Night Raw. So like I started watching Raw right after Shawn Michaels had won, and after that, that turned me on to I'm a big gamer, so it was the Super Nintendo, and I got Monday Night Raw on Super Nintendo, and from there I was just hooked. I've been watching wrestling every week of my life ever since that day.
Absolutely. So, was there a particular point where you were watching it and you got to thinking, I think I could do this? Was there a particular turning point for you where you knew that you wanted to be involved and actually do this yourself?
There was after I became a fan, there was a match between Rob Van Dam and Bam Bam Bigelow for the ECW television title, and I thought it was so cool, right? I'm sitting there, I'm like, that goddamn Rob Van Dam, I want to be just like him. But at that time in like '97, no one talked about wrestling, especially in the hood, where I'm from. No one talked about that. What they talked about in the hood was, you play basketball to get out of here, you play football to get out of here, you sell drugs to get out of here. That's how you get out the hood. It's not wrestling, or you rap. So what I did was I rapped. So as I'm sitting there and I'm rapping, I'm like, this is good and this is fine and everything, but I don't want to do this. I want to wrestle. So when I turned 18, they did the first Tough Enough, and I sent my tape out. I had to send a VHS. That's what you had to use, the VHS for the VCR. So I had sent the VHS to wherever it had to go to. I think it was like Titan Towers or something, whatever. And I sent it there, and I was like, man, they're taking a long time to get back. So then that's when I came across Backyard Wrestling, and then that's where it started.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, I know that your current hometown, where you state that you're from, is Philadelphia. So, what is your favorite thing about Philly?
Nothing. It's not a goddamn thing here. No, Philly, it's this is a hustle here. It's like when you come here, you can't bullshit. Like you'll be eliminated from around here. Like you have to learn to hustle. Whether it's I'm trying to watch myself here. Whatever it is, like it teaches you how to hustle because like just working and like just waiting your turn, it doesn't work here. You better learn your hustle. So that's why like right now I got like four different things that I got on the back burner cooking. Like if I was anywhere else in the world, I might not have the drive that I got. But being here, you have to hustle. You got to bust your ass here.
Gotcha. Speed round. Rob Van Dam.
The most underrated WWE champion ever.
I will absolutely agree. I really don't feel like the guy ever really got the respect that he deserved, or really the run that he deserved.
Yeah, it's funny when you think about it too. The thing that ended his title reign, the thing that messed up his run, is legal now. You can buy weed at the gas station.
Yeah,
That's insane.
yeah. It's it's a different world than we grew up in, for sure.
Absolutely. But yeah, just talented. That guy, like the Van Dam split. I tried that. I pulled my
Hmm.
groin out. Like that didn't work out for me. But he is impressive as hell.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So I had mentioned a little bit ago about the lore and everything surrounding Eric X. Black. So tell us about the Black Hand Society.
Well, the Black Hand Society is me and Raina Black. Sometimes we add family to our we add members to our little family, and we just love terrorizing. I've been in a lot of stables and tag teams throughout Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. Raina Black is my favorite partner that I've tagged with. Also, she's my wife.
Right. So so tell us about Raina. How'd you guys meet and all of that? How did everything come about with you and Raina?
CZW. She started training after I left to start hitting the local indies around here. And then I met her at a place called DWF. They don't run anymore. And at the time, I didn't know that she was into me. I was into her, like everybody else was too. But then, we'd been good friends, and we started doing shows together. And well, 10 years later, we're married. So it's a small damn world.
It is, man. And, I've got to say, when you're with the right person, man, there is nothing like it. My wife and I actually just last month celebrated 26 years. And, it's like I said, when you're with that right person, it's a beautiful thing.
First of all, congratulations on the 26 years.
Thank you.
Yeah. Me and Raina, we got married in August, and is she's great. She's the yin to my black yang. Let me tell you, we be sitting there and we're just doing the average life thing, and like she might just chop me, and then I chop her, and we're just sitting there going back and forth. We're in the living room, we're going over thing. We wrestle in our off time. That's my best friend. We had a match a couple of months ago where she used a lot of chairs to beat me down in the match, but she had to do that. So, what I mean? I forgave her.
Oh yeah. You know, when you've got that kind of relationship, what's a chair shot here and there?
She hit me 8 times, but you're right. Yeah, well, it's one or two. Yeah,
Oh man. Yeah, actually I hopefully some point in the near future I'm working on getting Raina on the throwdown. I would love to pick her brain. So definitely put in a word for me.
absolutely. I would tell her right now, but she's not here. She might come in during this interview. I'm not quite sure, but I will
That's
definitely
fine.
tell her.
So tell us about your very first match. What was it like? How did it go? What were your thoughts going into it? Thoughts coming out of it? All that. Let's hear the story of numero uno.
So my first match was for CZW. They were doing these shows called the Maven Bentley Association Show, the NBA, and it was in Vineland, New Jersey. It was me and there's a guy. Some of the local fans might know Kit Osborne, and we were going against Johnny Sin and Izzy, and our manager was Adam Cole, and we had our match with these two guys. They were just so everybody can understand what it was. It was supposed to be a squash match. These guys were about 400 pounds, the two of them, not together, separately, and I was shitting bricks because we're sitting there and we're training, and they're like, "Oh, you can do this, and this is how you do this, that, and the third." Then you get in there with these two 400 pounders. You can't lift them. They're only gonna fall if they want to. So you're forced. I was forced to like throw myself at them, like legit, because I hit them with a clothesline. They didn't go down, and I'm like, shit, you were supposed to go down. So now you gotta, bring it. It was a good learning experience. That was my first one with Kid Osborne and Adam Cole as our manager.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, I knew that Cole had basically come out of CZW. I didn't know you were up there at the same time he was. He is actually one of my favorite talents, and I really feel like hopefully he's gonna have a healthy string now, and kind of get back to doing what he does, because he's one of the best.
He is the class that I had graduated from. There was a couple of people that you might know. Joe Gacy was in that
Oh
class.
yeah,
Adam Cole, Alex Colon. Trying to think who else you might know. But those were the main with Tyler Veritas. Me and Adam Cole, we debuted on the same show, the Down for the Sickness, back in 2008 at the Chris Cass Battle Memorial Show. And Adam Cole, like even back then, they were sitting there saying like, "Oh, he's got it. It's the hair, it's the face, and this, that, and the third." And you could tell there was something different about him. I do wish him all the success over there in AEW.
absolutely, absolutely. So we've heard about the first match. Now, tell us about your favorite match that you've been a part of, if you can narrow it down to one favorite. If not, tell us about one or two.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you two. The first one was against a man named LJ Cruz, and he again, it was a CZW graduate. We had a match for the HPW United States Championship, and what was cool about that was uh, we went 20 minutes. It was at Super Crazy in New Jersey, and we went 20 minutes, and at the end, you know, that was like my first major championship, and I wasn't expecting to feel the way that I was because he pushed me to the limit. I looked up to this guy when I was coming up. He was on the main show on CZW. When we were training, DJ would sit there and say, "Be like him." He's great, and he would come in during training and he would just nail it because he's already on the shows. We're just training. So to
Right.
fast forward 10 years later, and he's the U.S. champion in this company, and then I beat him. And after the match was over, he shook my hand and he hugged me and he said, "I'm proud of you." And he said, you're gonna carry this title with pride." And like it just got me. You see guys get emotional winning championships, and you're just like, like, how is this guy crying? But how do you not get emotional when a guy that you looked up for the last 10 years, your trainer sitting there telling you, "Be like him," and now he's telling you after the match, "I'm proud of you." That has to be my favorite match.
Exactly, man. Moments like that get you in the feels.
Absolutely.
I was actually just looking over at the Instagram tab and looking at the chat over there, and my son is actually watching, and he actually commented that he loves this particular mask that you're wearing.
Oh, thank you, thank you. This was my original. I got like 12 of these masks now, but this is the original. This is my favorite one, honestly.
Awesome. Awesome. So, speed round, homicide.
Homicide. Underrated.
Yep.
Underrated. I heard about him the whole time. Like in Philadelphia, they call him D. I don't think I'm letting the cat out the bag, but they say, yo, D, he's nice and this and the third. And it's not until you actually watch him. He's so respected. That's a better word for him, respected. Because every locker room I've ever been in, if Homicide's on the show, if he's stopping by for open mat, it's respect across the board from the veterans, from the rookies to the veterans. So respected.
Absolutely. So, what is the longest you have ever driven to get to a match?
Well, see, I'm smart. I get other people to drive me.
Ah.
Ah, that's for suckers. No, the the the, the longest I drove was like it was like 5 hours to like Altoona. If I know you're in Georgia. First of all, I gotta come down there to Atlanta. Like I haven't been. I have to be, but it's like 5 hours. Like one of the things I do is like I do a ride share, and I do that for a living. Like when I'm not wrestling, the last thing I want to do is drive forever and a day to get to a show.
Gotcha.
I know it's sacrilege or whatever, but goddamn. But yeah, it was like 5 hours because I'm the type of driver I'll drive for an hour and I'm like, all right, let's go to Wawa. I'll drive for another hour. All right, let's go to Sheets. Then another hour. Look at the hills over there. So that's the type of driver I am.
Gotcha. uh, so, what is your biggest in-ring pet peeve?
I'm a guy where I don't like to bite my lip. So I'm not gonna say the individual's name, but I'm gonna name a circumstance. And the people that follow me, I told everyone on Facebook, and I got a lot of people saying that they're gonna listen in, so they'll know what it is. I had a match with a guy that had a big name, and the guy didn't want to bump at all. That's
Really?
right. This guy wanted to wrestle, but not wrestle. So you come in here. So here's my thing, right? So I come into these matches and I give myself to my opponent. I'm like, you're going to hurt me and I'm going to hurt you. That's a given. But when I sit there and I show up and I say, hey, what do you want to do tonight? And you go, well, I'm not going to bump. You see that ring? I don't want to hurt myself. Oh, my back and my neck. Then why are you wrestling? So to me, that is my biggest pet peeve because you cut your promo, you talk all fucking tough, but then when it's time to be tough, you don't want to. That's my biggest pet peeve.
Gotcha. Speed round, Tony Storm.
I'm a married man. You trying to get me in trouble, Matt? No. Great gimmick. There you go. It's a great
Yep,
gimmick.
absolutely. We'll just leave it at that.
Mhm.
So, I know
Man, trying
that
to get
in
me killed.
yeah, Raina's gonna hurt one of us.
No, thank you. Great gimmick.
So, I know that there are two main ways to kind of prepare for a match. You can either work it out with your opponent in the back, or you can call it in the ring, or you can kind of do a little bit of both. What's your preference?
My preference is to call it in the ring. Uh, so before I got into wrestling, I heard Eddie Guerrero. He just likes to call in the ring. Like it's great to go over all these spots and like the two wrestlers that I always heard was the Macho Man. He would sit there and from I mean not the Macho Man, Diamond Dallas Page. He would like to call it from the beginning to the end, including the parts where he breathes at. And then I heard Eddie Guerrero is like, "Hey Holmes, what's the finish, Holmes?" And he called everything else in the ring. He loved that. So for me, I like calling it in the ring because it's more spontaneous. Like to give you an example, right? So Matt, me and you, that's right, Matt. It's Matt versus Eric Black. Yeah, you like that?
Do
Yeah,
it.
I do.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
That's right.
Hurt me.
That's right. You take those glasses. So we're having a match, right? And you're like, yeah, and I'm gonna do this, and your ass is grass, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do that, right? So then the crowd is sitting there, and they're like, and you're doing whatever you're supposed to be. You said that you're gonna do. Well, they're not reacting, Matt. And you're like, oh, I'm about to go hit my moonsault stomp, and then I'm gonna pick you up, and I'm gonna hit you with a super kick 33 times, Eric. And the crowd is just like, eh. So now it's my job to cut you off, and now I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. Well, guess what, Matt? We're doing this now. Boom. And it's to get the crowd in there. Or what I like to do, if like whatever you got planned, if like we talk about it, and I'm like, I don't know how they're going to take it. I like to just cut you off. I throw you in the crowd, have an old lady or a guy hold your arms, light your chest up, throw you over the chairs, take you up, and I do this thing where I get you up in the fireman carry, and I run you into the turnbuckle. You know, I just like to, I like to do stuff spontaneous. Maybe when I go out there, I feel like power bombing you off the apron. I don't, you know what I mean? I just like to do it on the fly.
You know, I tend to agree. I think the guys that are comfortable enough to call it in the ring do end up providing a more believable product.
Hmm. Absolutely. It's about the crowd. I like to take requests. If we're outside the ring, I might sit there and look at the guy that's like not impressed, and I might be like, well, what should I do then? I don't know, kick his ass. And then I might kick you in the nuts. You know what I mean? That ain't my fault. It's his fault.
Absolutely. So, if you could only be one, would you rather be great in the ring or great on the mic?
I'd rather be great on the mic. I'm both. But I would rather be great on the mic because listen, this beautiful body right here isn't gonna hold up forever. And when it doesn't hold up, I want to be able to come out there and make you interested. Like the problem with wrestling is, and this is a big pet peeve of mine, and this is why later on I'll get into it when you ask me the questions about my future ventures. Wrestling isn't about storytelling anymore. And no, I'm sorry, I thought I heard something up there or whatever. Wrestling isn't
Ah,
about. I'm sorry, repeat the question. That threw me off.
oh, let me see here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got you. I got you. Would you rather be great on the mic or on the
No,
or in the ring? So I'd rather be great on the mic because of storytelling. That's what gets people invested. Like anybody can do a flip. Anybody can like fall down after getting hit, but it's being able to tell a story to make someone get invested in like when you fall, oh man, I hope he gets up. When you're getting beat down, oh, I hope he fights back. So for me, I'd rather be able to get you invested with my words versus being able to do moves in the ring.
gotcha, gotcha. And the rare people who are really good both on the mic and in the ring can virtually write their own ticket because the people that are great in both aspects are few and far between. So
Absolutely, I agree.
so let's see here. Speed round. Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston. Hmm. From what I heard, stiff as hell with that back fist.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I've definitely heard he's one of these guys that likes to work stiff just in general, but like you're saying, especially that back fist.
That like I always heard about that back fist, and it looked a little snug. If you were saying outside of that, because that's the first thing popped in my head, it would be comedy. Like Eddie Kingston says what you're thinking, and he says it in the most
Mhm,
comedic way, and he's
for
real.
sure.
Like I mean, he is every guy in New York.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. So, what has been your most unusual encounter with a fan? I bet you've got some stories.
yeah, again, I'm a married man, so
Yeah.
but just respectfully, I had a couple that was fans, and they were into what was how would you say this? Uh, Trying to invite other people in to their
Oh,
private affairs. So that was probably the weirdest interaction with fans.
no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, that would definitely be one for the books.
Hey Eric, my wife, she's a fan of yours. Here's our telephone number. I was like, yeah, okay. Like, hey, we sometimes do this, and I'm like, Jesus, buddy, God damn.
Not with not with me, you don't.
Hey, my t-shirts is over there. Hey, go hit the merch table. But no, that was probably like the weirdest one.
No doubt. No doubt. So, do you have a preference yourself between working heel or babyface?
Well, personally, see, the thing with being a face, right? Uh, you sell more merch. Kids like that. They like to buy stuff from a happy guy. But I'm from Philly, and I got a baby mom who I would love to eviscerate. So it makes me really angry when I have shows come up because this shit's annoying. So I like to go to wrestling and take my aggression out, and then I like to sit there and just squeeze. And as a baby face, you can't squeeze. You gotta clap and you gotta stomp in America. But yeah, I like to hurt people, and it's easier when I'm a heel.
Absolutely. And, coming from the perspective of a fan, I have always found myself gravitating toward the heels. The heels are generally just more compelling characters because there's usually a backstory. There's a reason why they are the way they are. Most heels are not being assholes just to be assholes. There's a reason. And finding out the backstory and the reason is fascinating from
Mm-hmm.
my perspective. So,
No, no, you're right about that. But the thing about it is this, right? What's the difference? Like to you, what's the difference between a heel and a face?
oftentimes there isn't a lot of difference, really. The people that can seamlessly go back and forth from face to heel and back and really not change much about their character other than just subtle things to basically manipulate the crowd to receive them how they want to be received is magic.
Hmm. You see,
Uh,
my interpretation of it is that I'm just being me. It's your
yeah,
perspective that's whack that makes me think that I'm a bad guy. Because see, he just hit me. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna
you hit
choke
them
him
back.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, you might think I'm a bad guy because you like him. Well, after he gets this, you can get it too. Mind your business. You see what I'm saying? So it's all a matter of
Mm-hmm.
perspective to me.
Absolutely. So, can you? And I know this type of thing happens more often than a lot of people realize. But can you share an example of a time where something went completely sideways in a match and you had to improvise?
Yep. I had this match with this guy. I'm gonna leave his name out, but I had this match with this guy. This
Okay.
guy made the graphics. This guy, he sat there and he sold himself to the promoter to have a match with me. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm looking forward to our match. Where's the footage at? Everyone's like, oh, well, he trained over there in Delaware at. So, I don't know why you're facing him. He's the shits. And I'm like, wait, what? So the show comes up and the guy goes, hey, man, I'm a big fan of your work. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And, whatever you want to do after that. I'm like, okay. So the match happens, whatever. It's for my U.S. titles. That might narrow it down for a few people that's listening. A little fun cookie. So the match starts or whatever. He does what he says he's going to do. But then he comes to me and goes, all right, hey, Eric, take it home for me. I said, the fuck are you talking about? It's been like 3 minutes. And he was like, yeah, I forgot everything, man. I said, motherfucker, you just said you. What the fuck? And so I just started beating on him for a little bit. And then I did my moves that I wanted to do because I was like, listen, fuck you. You ain't getting shit. So then I just did my shit on him and I put him in a lion tamer and I tapped his ass out. That wasn't the finish, but it was today. So, yeah.
Gotcha. So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? A match that you can have watched it a million times and it doesn't get old, and there's always some new little nugget you can pull from it.
Yeah, this might be odd to a few people, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It was Taz versus Shane Douglas at the ECW arena for the television title. And Taz just wrestled and the franchise was sitting there and he was saying, get your greasy ass out of the ring and I'm gonna give you 3 minutes. And if 3 minutes you can't beat me, then you get the hell out of ECW for like 90 days or something like that. And just watching Taz like come out and beat his badass, and he just beat up like 4 people, and he's tired. And Shane put the stipulation down. The way that they interacted, and I watched the franchise like shoot from the hip at the crowd, even though the match is like technically 3 minutes long with the celebration not included. The storytelling in that match, it just I could watch that 1,000 times because one, Taz is one of my favorite guys. The franchise too, and
Mhm.
both of them in the same match. I actually worked some matches with the franchise too, and that was a nice little bonus. So that's my favorite match is Taz and Shane Douglas for the ECW television title. I could watch that a million times.
Nice, nice. So, being a fan of Taz, um, what do you think about how his son Hook is coming along?
I think he's coming along strong in the beginning, and they overexposed him. I think he needs to like either hit the indies like Zilla's doing, Fatu, or he needs to go to
Mhm.
NXT.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, AEW has, in my opinion at least, mishandled a lot of the young talent they've got. So, but that's just my opinion.
Well, they're circling back around, like the big names come in, and this happens even on the smaller indies. You have big names come in, the promoter wants to get behind them, And even the people that brought you to the dance, they take the back seat. After they
Yep.
get what they want or they don't work out, you circle back. That's why you see people like Orange Cassidy now getting a push. That's why you see people like who's the tag team that got it right now?
Private Party.
There you go. 5 years later, you see what I'm saying? Like you circle
Yeah.
back around to them. So yeah.
So, speed round. And this guy, you may know him by one of two different names: Damian Priest or Punishment Martinez.
I know Punishment Martinez because when I pulled my groin out in a match, he was the very next opponent, him and a guy named Browley in New Jersey. And I got in the ring and I felt great. And then we went to, when I used to be in a tag team, I went to go in, I did a crossbody, and Damien, I'll call him Damien since everybody's familiar with him, that Damien caught me. He gave me a fall away slam. And when you take the slam, your legs go like this a little bit. My leg
Right.
went like this. The groin came out a little bit more, and I said, take it home for me, Ty. And that boy's strong, but I'm happy to see him getting a push right now.
Absolutely. I've my son and I were watching him, years ago when he was in Ring of Honor, and even back then, I had a feeling that big things were ahead for him, and it's been fun to watch these last few years as he's gotten to WWE and really come into his own. And yeah, like you, I'm beyond happy to see him having a good run.
Absolutely.
So, and this can be present day or past. Who would be a dream opponent? Who would Eric X Black love to work?
Are we talking of any company, anywhere?
Yeah, just anybody.
Leo Rush.
Really?
Mm-hmm. We never got a chance to like cross paths because there was a time where there was a place called LCW. We were going to meet up in a tournament. Then they got new management. They brought in a bunch of ROH guys, so we didn't get a chance to touch. But I've been following him ever since he started over there in Maryland, and the things he do in the ring is it's phenomenal. And I would
Oh
love to
yeah,
be there. And I would love to be there to cut him off at the path every time he does that flippy shit. So I would love to face him.
absolutely. So, is there a favorite move of yours, something that you just absolutely love doing? And on the flip side of that, is there a move that you either won't do or would rather not do?
The two moves, I'll say there's two that I like. I love to do. One
Okay.
is my burning hammer because there's a way to hit you with the burning hammer for me to get the 3 count. Then there's a way, if I don't like you, for you to stay down longer than a 3 count. The other move I
Gotcha.
like is snapping someone's fingers because I love watching the crowd go, oh, oh, that shit is fucking euphoric. I love it. You just take his finger and just, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
The cringe factor alone is just beautiful.
oh yeah. You pull this back, and then you just snap right off.
Absolutely. Actually, you just froze. Aha, here we go. Ah, you froze. You're back.
Go, hey.
So anyway, you were just snapping fingers.
Oh yeah, yeah. So let's rewind that. And they go like that. Yeah, so so yeah, that is oh man, that's just been my thing. I learned that when I was in training one day and
And you're back again.
Yep. That's old. That's me. That's me. I didn't do it.
So anyway, you were in training one day. You were talking about how you learned to snap fingers.
Oh yeah. I went to training, and I was just curious because you know the European style. Like I studied that closely, and I came across Pete Dunne, and
Mm-hmm.
the way that he does it, I was like, that's pretty damn cool. I'm gonna go find out how you do that. And I went to training and got shown, and I said, oh, that's fun. One time I went into a battle royal. I snapped everyone's finger in the battle royal that I could. As soon as they touched me, ah! Love that shit. And you said, is there a move that I wouldn't want to do?
Yeah.
Uh, Probably the 450 splash. I did it one time, over rotated, hit the bean of my head, like the crown of my head on the mat. That shit sucks. Yeah. I don't. Mm-mm. Unless it's a very big match. Yeah, I don't. Nah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, somebody else who actually is very good at the finger snapping stuff is Marty Skrull. Uh, I remember, you know, that used to be one of his things, and then you know he had some circumstances happen, and he's kind of unfortunately kind of blacklisted from a lot of wrestling, and it's a shame
Yeah.
because the guy's talented.
Yeah, he is. But when you're in wrestling, like you got to keep your chin, you got to keep your nose clean. You can't get involved in anything stupid. And
Yep.
when you do stupid things happen. So
Yep. But
I've seen that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, no, I was just going to say, you know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Absolutely.
So, you know, you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure this applies. So I'm going to ask, what hurts right now?
The main thing that hurts is not even from wrestling. I was in a car accident a couple years ago, and my C5 and C6,
Mm-hmm.
they lay on top of each other. For anyone who doesn't know, the back of your neck is kind of it's like this, right?
Yeah.
So when I got into the car accident, the car flipped like 4 times, and I hit the windshield and everything. So it lays like this. The C5 and C6, they lay like that on top of each other, which is like really irritating. And when I go to a chiropractor, it frees it up a little bit, and the tension isn't there. But when it's
Yeah.
not, and it goes like this, it's just a bitch because I can't get full mobility turning my neck anymore. So that hurts the most. But from wrestling, it's that groin injury I told you about. The guy.
Yeah.
So I went to go for my high ass frog splash. I jumped really high. So I went to go do the high ass frog splash. The guy rolled out the way. I had about a split second to decide whether I was going to hit the mat with my feet or take the whole landing on like my sternum. And that moment of hesitation, my leg was up, the other leg was down. I was like kind of in between both, and my groin just popped out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Whew, man. You know, it's funny. Talking about neck injuries and everything, you know, prior to what I'm doing now, way back in the day, I used to be a firefighter paramedic. So I'm familiar with the anatomy of the neck, man. And,
Okay.
you know, we used to, when I was going through paramedic school and they were talking about, you know, the cervical vertebrae in the neck, you know, if the higher up you get, the more dangerous it is. And, you know,
Hmm.
they used to tell us, you know, anything above C4, you know, the C3, 2, 1, if those get fractured, you can end up in a situation where basically you're kind of paralyzing the brainstem, which controls breathing and everything else. So they used to, you know, for us to remember, they would tell us above C4, breathe no more. you know,
Ooh.
and they called that the hangman's fractures, and
Mm,
you know, necks are nothing to mess with, man.
man, you just made my neck hurt again.
So, what are your thoughts on the current state of the business?
Mm. Uh, as a whole, I like some of the storytelling that's being done. There's certain companies that's like telling good stories. I'm a fan of the story. Like I said it earlier, like anybody can flip, anybody can do it. It's like get me invested. So
Hmm.
any company that can sit there and make me go, shit, I want to see the promo. Shit, I want to see their way in, or like whatever they have going on and like progress their story, I'm a fan of. So I see that picking up, and you see it in the things on TV right now. Like look at the Bloodline. That story's been dragging on since the pandemic. So like,
Hmm.
big fan of the storytelling that's going on right now. And as far as like the state, like if you're talking about like getting work, it's a little rough because everyone's competing for the same spot on national TV. But at least there's two companies that's national.
Absolutely. So, what is your take on the role that social media is playing as a promotional tool in wrestling?
I don't think it's getting used enough. Like, I mean, you see things like I'll refer to the mainstream so all the fans can get it. But like stuff like the Jade Cargill stuff that's going on with her being laid out on the car, a lot of that's being told, behind the camera. And the same thing with the bloodline, but I don't think it's utilized enough, especially like on the indies. Like if you sit there and you wait for your show that happens once or twice a month, you're missing out. Like there's people that hop on the computer every day. Keep it going.
Hmm. Absolutely. So, knowing everything that you know at this point in life, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Hit the gym a lot faster than I did.
Absolutely.
I've sat there and I've got advice. I applied for work with the big companies, and the one thing I've always heard is, okay, you're not 6 feet, and I'm like, yeah, well, no shit. But they're like, yeah, you're not 6 feet, but you can grow taller, but you can grow wider. And
Yeah,
they would sit there and say, figure it out. So I started learning about, protein shakes and like, you know, uh, the training regimen that you should be doing and like your intake and all this other stuff. And I learned it later on in my career, but I wish I knew this back in 2007, 2008.
for sure. For sure. So, do you have any pre show traditions, rituals, superstitions, any things that you try to do consistently before you go through the curtain?
Before I go through the curtain, I like to put on the most angriest 2000 metal I can find, and I put it on in my headset. And then I like to tell Raina just to chop the shit out of me. Get me angry before I go out here. So I'll sit there and I'll have like Headstrong in my headset or like some Metallica or something, and then Raina just come through and just light me up, and I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna kill this fucking guy. So shit like that.
So, something that we've done in all of these that's just been kind of a fun thing is we've let the current guest pose a question for the next guest. So, last night I had an Atlanta based wrestler, Mr. Rockstar Donovan Thomas. And he posed this question, and it's just kind of a random thing, but what is your favorite soup or slice of cake?
I was not expecting that. Thank you, Donovan. My god damn. My favorite cake is mm, cheesecake. Uh, red velvet cheesecake. Yep, that's my favorite. I got it. Even if I'm full, I always got room for more.
Got you. What about soup? Are you a soup guy?
Oh yeah, chicken noodle all day. That's what mom gave me when I was sick. Anytime I start calling, chicken noodle soup. So yes, chicken noodle soup all day.
I'm with you on chicken noodle soup, man. Chicken noodle soup is actually one of those things I could have that almost every day and be happy.
And you gotta have the crackers with it though.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Oh,
So, since this is part of a series, do you have a question you would like to pose to the next guest? And I can actually tell you our next guest this coming Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I've got a tag team out of New York, Death
mm,
Rock City. Death Rock City, made up of Montilla the Killer and Duncan Only. I don't know if you know those guys. Um, and the question doesn't have to be particular to them, but do you have a question you would like to pose?
yeah, yeah. You know, since I got one that was so off the off the scale, I'm gonna give someone the next guest something that's off the scale.
Go for it.
What's their favorite video game console and their least liked video game console, and why?
How would you answer that?
God damn it, Matt. My least would be Nintendo 64. And I know everybody's going to be like, oh, man, we're going to jump you out of show. But the controller is goddamn awful. I hate the Nintendo 64 controller. My favorite would probably be the PS5 right now. That controller, I use that with all my other game systems with the modification. I'm a big game guy. Yeah, I like to hurt people and play games. But yeah, so those will be my favorite. The PS5 and the least would be the Nintendo 64.
Gotcha. So we're getting toward the end of things now. Do you have any upcoming shows or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to?
Yeah, I have a show this Saturday actually against Antonio Aziz, I think is how he spells his name. Doesn't matter, he's a dead man. But that's for Entertainment Battleground Wrestling in Gloucester, New Jersey. And then January 11th in Ohio, I'll be debuting for USWA for the heavyweight title against Andrew Williams. He's from OVW, so some of the guys might know him from the OVW. He's getting burned and hammered, and I'm like, fucking kill him. And then there's Pro Wrestling XX, which is my company, and I'll be taking on Jason fucking Knight from ECW for the Iron Man Championship. So those are some of the stuff that I got lined up that comes offhand. So
Nice. So tell us about XX Wrestling. How did that come about?
well, I've sat here and I've like played the background for a lot of other promoters companies, and they would come to me like not like I'm like oh so special and like I'm the guru or nothing, but they would come to me and go, what do you think about this, Eric? And what about this? And Eric, this is why we're doing this and this is why we're doing that. And I just felt like, right now in Philadelphia, there's not a whole lot of like wrestling going on. And this used to be a wrestling town. So guess what? Now we're going to do it my way. So that's why everybody that's on Pro Wrestling XX, I believe in. I feel like they're the next indie darlings and they don't get enough shine. And I'm going to work my ass off to give them a platform so everybody can get a chance to see. There's not one person that's booked on Pro Wrestling XX that I don't believe in. I believe in that whole card.
That is awesome. I've seen some of the stuff you've been putting out about it on social media, and man, I'm excited to see to see what comes of it. And I'm excited to do what I can from a distance to promote you guys.
If you were closer, I would have a front row seat for you. I'd be like, this is for Matt.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Who knows? One of these days, maybe I'll make it up to Philly and catch a show. I would love that.
I would too. And you know what? That show, the Pro Wrestling XX, I'm not in the championship qualifier. That's for these other guys. But let me tell you, I hype them up. They're going to murder each other. And whoever comes out on top comes on top. But if you like that 90s style smash mouth wrestling with a good storytelling, watch these guys murder themselves.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons that I am a huge fan of FTR, because they are doing things old school. I mean, paying respect to the old school smash mouth style of wrestling. I love their little catchphrase. No flips, just fists.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, I believe in that.
and man, their series of matches that they had with the Briscoes were just classics. I mean, God bless Jay Briscoe. That was
Oh,
just
yeah.
tragic. That was just a sad day.
I met Jay Briscoe and his brother Mark. Man, they're at the time I was in a tag team, and we went to the ROH tryouts, and they were there, and they were so nice. Like for anyone who don't, and I don't want to hold this up with the sidebar, but for anyone who don't know, when you go to a company, there's tryouts, and the Briscoes was among the people that was there for the tryout, and they shot straight with you. If you fucked up, they'd tell you that you fucked up and like you should not be here. Like Jay didn't hold back, and like we had a tag match with like the guys. They were like TD something. I don't know. They were like country gimmicks or whatever. They were like Grizzlies or something. And Mark and Jay was like, man, we like you boys, man. We like how you sit there and you communicate and everything. And hey man, your do rag didn't come off, man. So it was cool to like sit there and get the nod from them like while we're doing a tryout match, and then you just pick their brains because those guys were legit. Love the Briscoes.
Absolutely. Well, Eric, man, I've got to thank you for your time. This has been absolutely amazing. And like I said, I'm glad we got past the technical hiccups at the beginning, because this conversation has been, man, just having the chance to pick your brain has just been a pleasure. So thank you.
Thank you. I was looking forward to this all day. I told Raina this morning, I said, you know what? I don't care. I dropped something. Who gives a shit? I sat there and I was like, you know what? I got this. The Throwdown with Matt later. I can't wait. That's my boy. I went through. I was looking at some of your older shows that you had on the Facebook, and I like your style. I wish you much success. I'll sit there and I'll share the hell out of your stuff as much as possible. Raina will be on here soon enough. And keep doing what you're doing, bro. Like, you're giving me my flowers. I want to give you yours. Like, keep it up the good work. Love your stuff.
I appreciate that, man. Doing these has really been a privilege. I love focusing on the indies, because being a small part of telling the stories of people chasing a dream has just been one of the coolest experiences of my life. And getting to do this and getting to be a small part of a business that I have loved and followed for over 40 years is just the coolest thing in the world. I'm 55 years old. I've been watching wrestling since I was around 11. So I grew up in the territory days. I saw the Monday Night Wars start to finish, saw the rise and fall of ECW, everything else. And to finally be a small part of this business is just man, it is the coolest thing in the world. And I've met some of the most warm, amazing people doing this. And I count you among them. And, so, you can consider yourself part of the Throwdown family now. And you've got a standing invitation to come back anytime you want, you and Raina both. And man, this is so just thank you, sir.
I appreciate that. And let me just say, on behalf of the boys, your work is appreciated because one day we may get there and be big giant stars and on TV, WrestleMania, this, that, and the third. But just know, like, you right here are the starting point, and you're necessary. Your platform is appreciated. Trust me.
Well, I appreciate that. And like I said, as far as we've got coming, Sunday the 15th at 7, I've got Death Rock City, a tag team out of New York. Next Monday the 16th, also at 7, I've got a wrestler out of North Carolina, the Enchanting One, Tommy Okami. And then Tuesday the 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I've got episode 63 with a California-based wrestler, the Enterprise, Robin Shaw. And after that, after the 17th, for a couple of weeks, the show is going on hiatus for the holidays. But we're going to be coming back the week of January 6th, and we're coming back with a vengeance. We've got a whole bunch of stuff scheduled. We've got some new types of content that we're going to be rolling out in the new year that I'm really excited about. So everybody keep an eye on my socials because we've got big things coming in 2025. So, it is exciting times, man. And for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that'll be seeing this in replays and clips online, thank you for that. If you like what we've got going here, spread the word, follow me on my socials, all that good stuff. And everybody have a wonderful rest of the night. We'll see you Sunday. Everybody be good to each other, love each other, and keep throwing down.